Welcome back to Loanology, the Jonathan Wells podcast, where I still have not found my voice yet after the last, 3 months. But, we're getting through it. Once my voice recovers, no one's going to know what I sound like. But anyways, I got on with us today a special guest. We got Dom Guarino. Clap it up for Dom. Oh, it's the wrong one. There we go. There we go.
There it is.
Clap it up for Dom. What's going on, buddy?
Nothing much, man. How's your April been?
April's been great. 2 days in and we're thriving. So absolutely. Wish we could have gotten you in here at 4 o'clock, with your closing beat downstairs.
Didn't realize. Could have been more efficient with it.
Next time. We know it for the future, right?
Absolutely.
But awesome. Well, Dom, as usual, we're going to start this off with a drink review. We've got today Macallan 12. So it is a nice single malt Scotch whiskey. So hopefully you like single malt.
Yeah, never tried it, but I'll give you a nice, honest review.
There we go. Ready for it?
Oh, yeah.
There we go. So I'm going to pour myself a little bit here. And then feel free to pour your own amount, however much you want.
I think 2 fingers.
There you go. Absolutely.
Cheers.
Cheers, my friend.
Pretty smooth.
That's not bad at all.
That'll go through the matter.
Exactly. That's real smooth, man. We're gonna be doing well today. So awesome. Well, Dom, I know we were talking about getting this together, and aside from you critiquing my steak seasonings, we wanted to talk about a couple of things today. So why don't you lead off? Well, first, let's start with who you are and what you do and your experience in this field, and then we'll go into the topic. How about that?
Well, obviously, I'm Dom Guarino. I'm with Macallan Real Estate now. I'm a third-generation real estate agent here in Northwest Indiana and the Chicago suburbs. My mom, Jeannie Guarino, alongside with my brother, Joey, my grandma, Sue Teskey, and our new team member, Jeannie. We have a pretty strong team. And I got into the industry when I was 18, so this is coming up on 11 years in the business already.
Hell yeah.
Time is flying.
Dude, absolutely.
Yeah, and I love it. And today, I know we kind of discussed beforehand. I know there's a lot of stir in the business right now regarding the NAR settlement, and the changes that are coming up in July here. Every social media post, that goes on, like part of real estate masterminds, the whole 9 yards there, they are all losing their minds over this, and I really don't think it's going to be that bad.
Yeah.
I don't know what you've heard on this whole settlement or kind of expectations with the industry. Anything at all?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that, every realtor's going to be out of a job in 6 months. No, I'm kidding. No, I've heard a lot of different things, right? I think the media kind of portrays, like the media is always looking for clickbait, right? Like that's how the media sells. Like that's what they say in business. They have to sell advertisements. And the way that they get advertisement space is sold is they have to get eyeballs and clicks. So that's why they do a lot of clickbait. Regardless of whatever it is, fill in the blank. Like half the headlines aren't even what the article is actually about, right? If you actually read it. But everyone just sees the headlines. They don't look at anything else. And that's where they get all these different, ideas from, right? I was on a call today with a good friend of mine who used to own a very large brokerage back in the day and sold it to a different brokerage. And he does trainings and all that stuff for real estate agents now. And he was showing like new listing agreements and buyers or like purchase agreements or whatever. And there's actually 2 different lines now where you can set up the commissions and things like that. He's like, honestly, I don't see anything changing as far as like how agents are compensated and the amount of money they're being compensated. It's just a different, there's a new space to put that in these agreements.
Like a new format completely. I know that I think the only change is that it can't publicly be displayed on like the MLS. Right?
Sure.
There's no blanket compensation anymore. And a lot is going to be on the agent to go when they're meeting with the seller and explain that we've all been seeing the same media posts, the same news articles, that the 6% is no more.
Right.
Well, like the first thing is the commission's always been negotiable.
Right.
It remains negotiable.
Right.
When you sit down with the client, if if you're going in there and telling them, oh, it's only going to be 3%,
Right.
you're still going to be missing out on like a good majority of the buyers. I think there's a huge um, there is some power to being able to pay your buyer's broker out of pocket,
Mm-hmm.
but there's going to be a lot of people that can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to be still writing in the further conditions of the contracts, or like you said, if the purchase agreement's restructured in any way, that 2% or 3%, whatever that agreement might be, still might be included. And I think it's going to be um, the bottom line, what the net proceeds of the sale are going to be to the seller, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, what's going to decide the factor that like they're going to accept that contract or not.
Right. I think like, to that point as well, right? Like I know that but most buyers are not going to have the ability to pay for their realtor's commission, right? Most first-time home buyers, that is. If somebody's selling a place and buying a place, they can negotiate that. So potentially in higher end listings, you may see lower commissions on higher end listings, right? But at the end of the day, like, unless it's like a $4 million house in Northwest Indiana, that's not going to sell to like immediately, right? Most places in the $500,000 to $700,000 ranges are going to be pretty easy sells, anyways. So I feel like you could see some tightening in commissions at that level, but whatever, right? Um, what I do see though is like FHA just came out and they mentioned, hey, real estate commissions and the sellers are paying for the real estate commissions. That's still not, going against interested party contributions. So for if you're taking out a loan, you can only get 3 to 6% typically of seller credits, right? So FHA won't count the buyer's agent's commission against the 6% in total credits you can get, because that's how it's always been, and they're assuming that's going to be the way it is moving forward too. So you will see ways like that where an agent can negotiate, for their compensation that way, right? Obviously, a buyer's agent is not going to work for free, and I think that you will see, um, yeah, I mean, I think you're not going to see them work for free. I think you may see potentially some agents that are able to McDonaldize the process of buying a home maybe get away with doing a 1.875% commission or a 2% commission potentially.
Or even like a flat fee. This is what
Even
I
a
was
flat
thinking
fee,
was
yeah.
a flat fee service, but then you run into the issue of like, okay, it's 5,000 or 10,000 for me to work with you, and then you get those buyers that look for 3 years and you show 200 homes.
Right.
It'll be really interesting to see how kind of everybody adapts to it.
Right.
But overall, I do think it's going to improve the service,
Right.
because if the buyer is having to pay their agent for the commission, you're going to see the go-getters versus like the order takers.
Right.
Right. The
Exactly.
go-getters are going to be the ones sending their buyers the homes.
Mm-hmm.
Putting in the extra effort to give them top quality service, versus those who are just taking the call and going to show those houses that they've been sent from their buyers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that you don't hear from the buyer's agent for 2 weeks, and you send them a home. They're like, okay, I'll set it up for you.
Right.
So it's like those who are taking action versus those that are just taking orders.
Right. Exactly. I think that, to your point, I think that everything about this makes it so much better for the agent that is a hustler and is a go-getter, right? Because you're now required to sign an agreement with somebody you're going to work with them.
Yeah.
Cool. The go-getters are going to get that agreement signed, and that client's going to work with them, and they're going to provide a great service for that client. The agents that are like, yeah, call me when you need me. Let me go open the door for you. Like, you can't do that anymore, right? I think also that open houses are going to be a big thing for, listing, like buyers that don't want to sign a buyer's agreement. They're going to have to go tour these properties at open houses, right? And they're going to run to the listing agent there. You're going to have some buyers that get, that close out without getting any representation. I think that's going to be an issue. But yeah, I think that, I think it's going to be better all around for buyers agents themselves.
I think you mentioning open houses is pretty interesting though too, because like you said, you're going to be lacking representation, right? If you're going straight to the listing agent, which it's fine, but they become a limited agent at that point, and in that aspect, they can't fully represent you on one side or the other, right?
Right.
So yeah, I think the change though isn't as scary as everyone's making it out to be.
Right.
There's a lot of gloom and doom. I know we just switched from Rapatoni to Flex MLS,
Mm-hmm.
and in a couple months now, we got a change that is completely flipping the industry just from how it's run and to how it's going to continue to run.
Right.
Um, I don't really see it being that much of a problem.
Right. Yeah. No, I feel you. Um, yeah, I think that to your point, like, yeah, it's there's so many like the mortgage industry went through this in 2014 with Dodd Frank, right?
Yeah.
The stock market, like stock brokers, went through this in the early 2000s with the adaptation of digital trading, right? Like, there's always going to be something that comes through that like air quote disrupts the industry, but really all it does is it weeds out people that should have been out of the industry anyways, and it allows the top producers to go get more business, and essentially, and for top producers to go get more business, but really at the end of the day, they're helping more people. And as a consumer, you'd rather even I don't know what your thoughts are on this as a consumer, but personally, I would rather work with somebody who like has way more experience knowing what they're doing than somebody who got their license and sells 2 or 3 homes a year, right? Because that no shame in the game. Like if you're a part-time agent, like whatever, everyone has their own thing. But any industry or any business, period, like personally, I don't feel like you should half-ass a business if you're running it, right? Obviously, there's things you can and you should do in your own priorities, your own thing. But this is an industry where people are putting their livelihood and like where they're going to live in your hands.
Yeah.
Like you should take that seriously.
I say like that. I mean, it's the biggest the biggest investment for most people that they're going to make in their entire life, right? And I like to compare it to doctors, and you're going into surgery,
Right.
and you got the surgeon who has done 3 surgeries in a year,
Right.
versus the one that's done 150, and you're getting operated on the heart.
Right.
Are you comfortable with them completing your surgery with their
Right.
track record? Experience is the name of the game.
Right.
I mean, the longer you're in the industry, the more sales that you do. I mean, every sale is completely different. We run into so many different things. Each transaction is different. You learn from each and every single transaction.
Right. No, exactly. And at the end of the day, too, like, so I was talking to my buddy who was on that call earlier today, and he mentioned as well, he's like, he knows a good friend of his that her husband's a stockbroker, right? And so she was like, "Oh yeah, like your husband with you guys' financials. Like I'm assuming your husband probably does all the investing for you guys. Like you have a budget, he gives you the amount that you spend, and then he invests everything else." She's like, "No, not really." He's like, "Well, like how does that work?" She's like, "Well, we still work with a financial advisor." I said, "Well, your husband's job is a stock trader. Like he trades stocks for a living, right? Like why does he not do that himself?" And she's like, "Oh well, like that's just what we want to do. Like we want to have somebody else that manage our money. We don't have to worry about it. We just give them the cash and they do everything with it, right?" And I think that, that correlation is way different than most consumers with their home, right? Most consumers aren't a real estate agent and they're not, then if they have their home, like they're not privy to that market. But I think that what real estate agents really are at the core of what you are, you're not somebody who sells homes. You're not somebody who like markets homes. You are a relationship broker. Without you, the person that's buying your client's home and your client that's selling that home are going to get pissed at each other because they can't come to an agreement over terms, right? So your job and the other agent's job is to make sure that you can communicate the needs of both of your clients in a way that works for everybody, and you're able to take emotion out of it because it's not your home, right? And at the end of the day, that's what you're really selling, and that's what like Purple Bricks, Zillow, Realtor.com, like they can't sell that, like they can't do that, right? At the level that somebody like yourself can do.
Yeah, I think I'll piggyback off of that, and we're not only just a relationship, guide, but a trusted advisor throughout the entire process.
Right.
Right, as you're looking at homes and as you're selling your home, the pricing of the home in terms for the sellers, right? How to market the home, which avenues to take to get you the most for the home. Also with the buyers, you're walking through, you could save them, a couple $100 at each step of the way, right? This house isn't going to clear an inspection. If you portray that to the buyer and you say, hey, and you're honest and genuine with everyone that you work with, as if you were working for a friend or family member,
Right.
I think that's where you'll truly exceed in the business, or succeed in the business. And,
Yeah.
that's why I got into the business. I mean, I was studying medicine forever. I just truly love helping people,
Yeah.
and I try to help everybody as if they were a friend or family member.
Yeah.
And I think with the NAR settlement, a big thing was with the display of commissions on the MLS, there were agents that were, not sending specific listings to their clients because they didn't feel that they were being paid enough.
Right.
But now, they're taking it down so that like there's no discrimination. Like each listing is going to be its own negotiation
Right.
per se, right?
Yeah.
And again, I think the change is going to improve the business. Nothing to be scared of. What about pricing of homes? How do you feel this is going to affect the overall price on listings?
So my take on that, because again, like part of, I don't know if it was a news article I saw or something that was portrayed out there. People were like, "Oh, this is going to help with pricing of homes, right? Because now the sellers don't have to bake in that extra 3% for the buyer's agent, right?" Newsflash: sellers are greedy as hell, right? Like I've sold a home before, and when I sold it, I was greedy, right? So you're gonna have people that when they sell a home, like they're not just because they're saving 3%, air quotes, right? Because they're not like we talk about this. They're probably not actually saving 3%. But let's just assume that they are, right? They're not going to pass that on to the consumer. They're going to pocket that themselves, right? So I don't think it's going to change home values at all.
Yeah, no, and I don't either. It was kind of a trick question. I was going to see
Yeah,
what you
exactly.
think
No,
about
I'm
it.
saying,
Like if you do the math on it, right?
yeah,
3%, $500,000 house would be 15,000.
right,
Right? You knock that down, it's 485. Is that really that big of a significant difference? Or, I think the biggest driver of the prices of homes is the supply and demand.
right,
We have the immense amount of demand and limited supply right now.
yeah,
And I mean, even after COVID, when the market reopened, or like when the world reopened,
right,
and the rates were at an all-time low, demand was at an all-time high.
right,
And we were scrambling, like you couldn't even get a sign in the yard.
right.
And the prices really haven't come down, even though the rates have come up.
Prices have increased even when the rates were higher.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So I mean, that's supply and demand. That's not the commission inflating the price.
right. Yeah, commission's not inflating the price. It's a good thing that you brought that up too, because like I've seen this as well. People are saying, "Oh, median home price is down month over month," right? And yeah, median home price is down. But the median only measures like the line in the sand between what half the home sold above and half the home sold below, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't actually measure appreciation because typically when you have high interest rate environments like we're in now, more homes that are being sold on the lower end because you have people that are buying as their first time investment. They're getting their first place. People aren't moving up or relocating or doing all that stuff if they can help it because they want to hold on to their low interest rate, right? So just a side note on that. One question I did have for you, because I was in a meeting, like a networking event before this, right? And I was talking about this with another realtor from Macallan, and she mentioned that one of the biggest like objections that she's getting right now on listings is the seller saying, "Hey, why don't we wait 3 months until this whole NAR thing actually goes into effect, right? Because it's settled now, but the new laws don't go into effect until what, June, I think?
It's July 1st.
July 1st. Okay, perfect. So let's wait till after July 1st to list so I can save 3% of my house when I sell it, right?
I mean, that just goes right back to what I was saying at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's the media right now saying, oh, there's 6%, no more, 5%, no more.
Right.
But in reality, like it's the expectations that you're setting with these sellers. Like,
Right.
There's no incentive. Like you could offer incentives to the buying party, right? Like we're offering a 2% commission. You can't advertise it on the MLS anymore.
Right.
But you're one phone call away. That's the go-getters, right? Are you going to call that agent, see what kind of incentives that they're offering? Are they offering the commission? And then you run into the multiple offer situation again, right?
Yeah.
You got two offers on the table, and we're looking at the bottom line.
Yep.
Right? And one offer is asking for 2 to 2.5%, 3%. The other one is covering, the buyer is covering their own commission.
Yep.
Now who's going to win that offer? It just depends on the price and on that bottom line. But the expectation should be set around the board that you may be paying a commission still.
Right.
You know, I don't think it's an automatic. We're going to save 2.5%, 3%. You know, at the end of the day, I think you most likely will be paying 2.5%, 2%. Any sort of kind of percentage of commission. It's just going to depend on that specific offer, that circumstance, that home,
Right.
what you have on the table.
Right.
Because you're not going to pass something up if you're netting more at the end of the day, or you got a solid buyer that's asking for it.
Right.
Versus someone who's a little sketchy, you know, like on their pre-approval, you're like, I don't know.
Right.
Not working with Johnny Wells.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, and here's the other thing too. I think that you're definitely going to see some people, because again, perception is reality for most people, right? So, and that's a quote that I've lived with for the longest time. Because even when I did a great job for a client and they gave me a bad review, I'm always thinking like, okay, the reason why they gave me a bad review, and it's only happened like twice, but the reason why this person gave me a bad review is because their perception was their reality, right? So I didn't make that extra phone call to keep them updated, or I didn't do whatever it was, right? So again, perception is reality, right? I think that you're going to see some people decide that they're saying, hey, even though you're telling me everything that I already know and I believe it's true that I'm still going to have to pay a buyer's agent after July 1st, I'm just going to wait because I can. I'm not motivated enough to sell my home right now. And I'm going to wait until July 1st so that I can at least try my idea out, right? And I don't know how significant that portion of the market's going to be, but I think it's going to be, it might be enough where you still see a lag of inventory until after July 1st.
That, and I can see it the other way around though.
Sure.
Like, it could be a burst of inventory and a lack of buyers. Right?
Sure.
Because now the buyers think that they have to, forfeit X amount of dollars for representation.
Right.
Is there going to be that much demand? Without the understanding of what exactly is going on in the real estate transaction. And like I said, with the change, it's going to take some time to adjust to.
Yeah.
And it'll be very interesting to see, what everybody comes up with at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
Like the flat fee commissions, the people that can afford it, the people that can't, how the realtors are going to use their skill and, guide their buyers through this kind of trying time until there's a norm established where it'll basically be cut and dry. Like this is how the industry is going to operate from here on out.
Right. No, exactly. Yeah. No, 100%. I think you hit the nail on the head there for sure. What else is going on besides this NAR lawsuit, bro?
Yeah.
What else is happening? What else is happening in your life?
What about March Madness?
Oh, dude. Okay, I have almost the perfect setup for March Madness.
Okay.
So before it even started, like a couple weeks before the tournament, I took Purdue to win it all, right? And I was like,
I think you're sitting pretty, buddy.
So I was sitting pretty good. And then about halfway through March Madness, my buddy hit me and he's like, all right, take UConn to take it all. So I took UConn as well. So I'm sitting between.
So you're sitting extra pretty, is what you're saying.
I'm sitting extra pretty. I just need Purdue to win on Saturday.
I think they got it in the bag.
As long as Purdue wins on Saturday, no matter what happens, because I'm just assuming UConn's going to win against Alabama. But, yeah, I think I'm sitting pretty that if I can have UConn versus Purdue, no matter what happens, I'm winning.
I think Purdue's taking it all this year. As an IU fan, IU alum.
Think Edie's getting it?
As much as I hate to say it, I think Purdue's going to take the bag on this one.
There you go. I hope they do, because if they do, I'm going to win more money than if UConn does. So I had him at plus 800. Yeah. And I threw 50 on it. So yeah, and I got UConn at plus 300, I think. And I placed like 100 on it or something. So yeah.
It's a nice grab.
Nice grab.
It's just nice to be right sometimes, you know what I'm saying?
Dude, honestly, it is so nice to be right every once in a while.
Yeah.
You been on tennis?
No, but I like to play tennis.
I know you like to play tennis for sure. Like I bet on myself actually.
I don't sports bet too much. I enjoy watching them.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I'll throw some skin in the game and make it a little bit more interesting.
There you go.
Lately, I've been pretty uptight with it and just enjoying it for what it is.
There you go. Yeah. No, I was on a cruise in January with a buddy of mine who's a realtor, and it was myself and him, and he was like hit me up. He's like, "Where you at?" I was like, "Well, I'm at the sports bar, obviously, right? I'm at the sports book. Like, where else would I be, right?"
Mhm.
So he comes down, he's hanging out. I'm sweating a tennis bet. I have a three-legger, and the last leg I need is like I forgot his name, but he's like uh, who's the famous guy? Cristiano Ronaldo.
Okay.
He's the Ronaldo of tennis, right?
Yeah.
And he's getting his ass kicked, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, this guy was like a minus.
Alcaraz, Djokovic. Which one?
Yeah, I'm like, this guy's like a minus 250 going into this match, and he's getting his ass kicked right now. So we're sitting there just sweating the whole bet. They end up losing, and I ended up making my money back at the tables that night. But it was fun just to sweat that out with him, and then two like boys from Tennessee that we just met that day. But that's what I like about sports and like just sports betting in general. You throw a couple bucks down, and you just get to have a good time with the boys.
Yeah, put a little bit of skin in the game, and it's definitely a little bit more interesting.
Oh yeah,
For anything I ever watching. Right?
absolutely. How's jiu-jitsu going for you?
This is great. I actually just sold my place, and just going through the move, everything. Finally back to training regularly. I'm not signed up for any big competitions coming up, but
Sure.
looking to definitely sign up soon.
Yeah.
The team's doing good. They do got one in April that I'll be out supporting for, and I'm helping the guys get ready for that too. So
Where's that at?
that's going to be in Chicago. They got the IBJJF Open.
Okay, nice.
So that'll be a good time out there. I'll be in the crowd, definitely cheering these guys on.
Hell yeah.
What about you? Anything big, exciting coming up?
Yeah, I mean, this I'm switching over to Mac on all my stuff for business. Yeah, exactly. So the funny thing about that is I so Encompass is a system that most lenders use to actually originate loans, right? It's software used to put together everything. And that software cannot be accessed with Mac, period, right? So everything else I do can be done on Mac except for that, which is like the most important part of my business, right?
Yeah.
So I'm getting to the point where I'm going to bring on somebody. I got to talk to my boss about that, but I'm bringing on somebody to help with the pre-approvals and doing all that jazz. So I shouldn't be in the system as much anymore. But also, I can just do a virtual desktop and log in that way.
Yeah.
So it's a nice hack. So I'm going to move everything over this week and just be a Mac guy now.
I've played with the virtual back and forth between Windows and Mac.
Yeah.
No, that's a good time. But glad to see that you've come over to the dark side.
Oh yeah. Well, the nice thing, like, dude, the whole reason why I'm switching is so that way I can have my text messages up and be texting people back as if it's like an email inbox.
I'm going to give you a good one with the Mac. My favorite thing is the reminders, right? So,
Okay.
been to different seminars, you can carry around your hot list, your
Sure.
warm list, and when you hook it up, like on your computer, you can create different tabs, right?
Sure.
So, what exactly I got, like who I'm focused on today, my daily tasks, my monthly goals, my yearly goals, all this, and it syncs right to your phone, so you're carrying it around, right? So, like when I'm looking at houses or I'm, going on a listing, I have my list with me at all times, so I know like who's got the inside scoop on what's going on, who's looking at what, and that's been really helpful for me and my business. I mean, I'm on that every day. Every time I get in the office, I pull up like my list, my daily tasks, and as I'm running around, I'm checking those boxes, and it's all synced. So it's a pretty neat little feature that Mac offers.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'll have to check that out. Have you heard of Motion? Okay. So Motion is like the scheduling tool, right? So you do like a team meeting essentially, right? And like for 30 minutes or however long it takes you in the morning, you brain dump. You're like, these are the things I need to get done today, right? You put them all in motion. You say, cool, I need to get this done by, this day, whatever, right? So you have like your things that need to be done by the end of the day, end of the week, next week, right? And what it does is it uses AI and it actually puts it all in your calendar, and then it batches like tasks, so you're more productive doing those tasks. And then if you like send somebody an email, like I use Calendly a lot.
Yeah.
So I'm like, great, like, here's my link, get scheduled in my calendar, and it'll put it in there, right? Now with Motion, you can actually it'll create an email for you, apparently I haven't tried this out yet, but it's given me an advertisement on it, which I have signed up for Motion, but I haven't tested it out that much. It's supposed to actually generate an email for you telling the recipient, hey, I'm available at these 3 times, which works best for you, and sends it out, right? So now you're essentially using AI to batch your tasks in your calendar. So you don't have to do all the scheduling, and it really is its own virtual assistant at that point, right?
Yeah.
Which I feel like, executive assistants, like people that do everything, are still going to be around. But I think that most, assistants are probably going to be out of the business and just being replaced with call services at this point.
Yeah. I mean, AI has definitely stepped this game up big time. Like, I mean, it's very applicable to a lot of things that we do in our day-to-day lives.
Oh, yeah.
Business, it's just crazy to me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I use ChatGPT for almost everything.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's, students these days, you got a tough, you plugging that in and then they're catching you and they're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In school, like, I'm glad that wasn't around.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it is good. Like, I don't know how many students are listening to this, but I think I think it is good that, like, if you're, it is good to know how to put together a nice formatted email, put together an essay, and put together these different things, right? And get words onto paper the way that you want it to be. At the same time, though, like, it's a huge time saver for me to just throw everything through ChatGPT.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, things that would take me, an hour are done in 5 minutes now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely pretty crazy.
Oh yeah. What are some like good marketing things that you have? So like I've got an email newsletter that goes out. I have podcasts like we're doing right now. I've got Facebook posts. Like what are things that you do to really market yourself to your clients?
Maybe social media. I think the face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
Phone calls, texts. We kind of operate on the sphere of influence, and really focusing on the people that we've done business with, that are friends and family of those people, and building relationships, like you said.
Right.
And keeping those relationships. I mean, beyond that, like, it's professional photography, like with different listings and stuff like that.
Sure.
It's, pretty much we have a systematic plan in place.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's the relationships that we keep.
Right.
And staying in touch with everybody. I mean, when I got into the business, it was so easy for me to have a sale, and then now talk to those people, for a year, 2 years,
right,
until they're ready. Like, they're calling me. Like, instead, I'm calling these people, checking in, seeing how things are going. Not necessarily prying for business, but just trying to keep the relationship going.
Yeah.
Let's go grab a drink. Let's go out to eat. Let's go play a round of golf. Whatever their interests are, what that align with mine.
Yeah.
Kind of focusing on that.
Yeah.
And that's going a long way.
There you go, man. No, I love it.
What about you? Outside of the podcast,
dude,
and the marketing you're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, so here's one thing that I have noticed with sales in general, right? And I'm gonna pick on realtors for half a second, so I hope you don't mind, right? First thing is, preface this: I love the realtors that I work with, right? I think that most real estate agents, especially the ones that I choose to align myself with, are of really good character and they're great people, right? I also understand that real estate agents are, I think, the number one marketed to industry in America, right? Everyone has a tool for a real estate agent they can use. Everyone has a software program. Everyone has a gimmick they can sell you, right? And so, the most realtors hate being sold to.
Oh, yeah.
Like, realtors hate being sold to, right? Now, I get sold to mostly by insurance agents. and I don't mind it. Like, I try my best. Like, insurance agents and title agents, right? I actually it's funny, I had a title agent walk, like, the receptionist that works here, not my receptionist, but she works at this place. She came into my office. She knocked on the door. She's like, "Hey, this guy from this title company wants to meet you." I have no idea who this guy is, but I know this title company he works at. I'm like, "No, like, I'm good." And like, I meant to go tell her that she was away when I went to go tell her this. And I was like, that was kind of rude. I should have said I'm busy, because I actually was. I was like, but regardless, I don't I don't hate being sold to, but I don't love being sold to either, right? So I can only imagine what it is for real estate agents. So I have to find ways to market real estate agents because that's my main demographic, and consumers without being too salesy, right? So I used to call realtors every Monday, right? I used to blow their phones up, and you were one of those people. And you just like send a voicemail. You're like, yeah, I heard it, Johnny. I got you. Like, send the voicemail, right? And I'm thinking, like, there's some agents that I know they're pissed off at me because I'm calling them this much, and there's other agents that are probably pissed off and they're not telling me that they're pissed off, right? So why don't I do this? Why don't I change up my approach? Let me reach out to them directly, maybe once a month, right? But then reach out to them indirectly at least once or twice a week. So that indirect thing could be commenting on their Facebook post. Could be send them an IG DM about their like they posted a story that they sold a house. Yeah. Hey, great job, man. That's awesome. Keep it up, right? I don't expect a response on any of that. But what I'm doing is, when Dom opens up his IG after he closed the listing, is like, oh yeah, Johnny said good job. Cool. I know Johnny's in my corner, right? And so those are things that I'm doing to again like keep myself in front of that person without directly pissing them off, right?
I think that anger doesn't come directly from like locals, right?
Sure.
And even if it's a little sales pitchy, right? But
sure, yeah.
The spam calls are off of the chain right now.
Oh,
like,
dude, for real.
I get 10 to 12 a day trying to sell me leads. like,
if I don't have somebody saved as a contact and so they call me, I will even if I'm like freer than free. Yeah. I will text them, "Hey, I'll call you right back," just to see if I get that automatic text that says
I answer. I give them the 3-second benefit of the doubt.
Sure.
And then my temper, rises a little bit.
Exactly.
as they're like, "Oh, we're trying to sell you leads."
And then the automatic text comes in and says, "This is a landline," and I'm like, "Ain't nobody with a landline calling me and actually going to do business with me."
I got the 219 numbers, and I'm like, what?
Dude, they're getting sneakier than that. Okay, so I get probably about 10 spam calls a week, right? At least. I've got people that call me with a 219 area code, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, "Hey, this is, Jake or whatever," right?
From State Farm.
Exactly. They're like, "Hey, this is Jake. I'm calling you back. You just left me a message 30 minutes ago," right? And I'm like, "I don't remember calling you Jake, but I called a few people 30 minutes ago maybe, right?" Mm-hmm. So I'm like, "All right, cool. Like, who referred you in?" They're like, "Oh, well, I don't know, like you called me or whatever." And then now they're trying to get me to like solicit them, right? So this one guy, he was like, "I'm a real estate investor." I'm like, "Great." I was like, "So like what property you're looking at?" He's like, "Well, I don't have a property in mind right now, but I'm always looking for a good deal. What do you know?" I'm like, click. And this guy calls me back a week later and he's like, "Hey, I missed your call." I'm like, "You didn't miss shit, bro. Like you called me last week. It's the same gimmick." Dude, I'm telling you, they're smart with that right now.
Did you ever get caught on the phone by a good one? Like a good sales?
Dude, I'll just hang up on I'm not even going to lie. I'm not even going to lie, bro.
I find myself 10 minutes in.
Oh, no.
Like,
oh, no.
They're not telling me, but I'm like, man, you're good.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm listening and I'm learning. I'm like, how did you keep me on the phone this long?
You're a better man than me.
I got 100 things to do today. But I'm here.
I'm
here for it.
Would you like to buy some leads?
No, not those guys. Those guys straight slam the phone down. However, there's a couple like you get maybe 1 out of 100. They'll get you on the phone, and you're like, "Damn,
dude,
can I hire you?"
I can't put his name out there because I like him, and I just saw him today. He's a local guy, so I can't put his name out there.
He doesn't work for Bitmark, does he?
No.
Okay.
He's not. He's like. He's in the real estate industry, but he's not a realtor or a mortgage lender. I'll give you that.
Okay.
So he sat down with me last week, and he was trying to sell me on this product that he had, and I was like, "Dude," it's like, it's a marketing product, and like what you're charging me, it's like 10 grand over 3 years. And I was like, for that money, I could like do almost literally anything that I want to do for 10 grand. I'm like, I'm not gonna buy this thing. But bless his heart, man. He was so persistent. He's like, "Well, what about this? Like, what about this? Can I lock you in on this? Can I do this for you?" And I'm like, "Dude," I was like, "I love you, but stop. Like, please. Like, this is not going to happen, right?" And one of those was like, "Dude, can I hire this guy?" Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, those are the few that you're like, I could see it.
like I know I'm like, man, I get why. Like
Have you
he's such
considered selling real estate?
exactly. And like, dude, like I can't if I give away the industry he was in, everyone would know who I'm talking about. But I was like, bro, instead of selling that, like just sell some real estate, dude. You kill it.
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, no good time. How's that scotch treat you?
That was a beautiful, beautiful scotch. I'm not a huge scotch drinker myself, but it was smooth. What do
Yeah,
you call this again?
that's the Macallan 12. So have you ever watched Suits?
Like the first 3 episodes 10 times, and I find myself not finishing it.
There you
I'm
go.
sorry to the audience here.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone's
I'm
offended
sure
at you right now.
everybody is like, "What is wrong with you?"
They're like unsubscribe.
Yeah, right. Unsubscribe. No,
They're like, who's this Dom Guarino
it
guy?
was very it's very intriguing. Like I've been about it, and then I haven't been watching too much TV, honestly.
No, that's fine. That's very fair. I don't watch
I
much
get up
TV
at 4 in
either.
the morning, like I got a weird schedule.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I don't watch TV much either, but aside from the garbage shows my girlfriend makes me watch, but
What kind of garbage shows are you watching these days?
Love is Blind and
I
Love Island.
finished Love Is Blind with my lady myself.
There you go. Exactly. I'm just sitting there like
Riveting.
exactly. I'm just sitting there talking shit the whole time, bro. It's great. I love it. I actually love the stupid shows, right?
I wouldn't even call it stupid. I mean, that one, I love living vicariously through everybody else's drama.
Exactly.
I'm curious of myself, but I'm like, damn, I was sitting up.
Exactly.
Like,
I feel you. We're on the same level there for sure. But anyways, regardless, the so in Suits, the main guy Harvey Specter
Okay.
drinks Macallan 24, right?
Okay.
Which is this but twice as old, right?
Mhm.
So, so I have Macallan 24 is like $2,000 a bottle. It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Macallan 12, I think I paid like around $100 for this, and then the Macallan, I have Macallan 18 at the house, and they have the sherry oak casks, which are amazing, by the way.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like wine where they have like a new batch every year, obviously, right? So I have the 2020, and I think I have either the 21 or the 19, and I popped that at Thanksgiving at my parents' house,
Okay.
and that beautiful scotch. I'm kind of pissed I popped it at my parents' house because everyone had a drink of it. Now I'm done with about half a bottle. But I'm like, man, I will drink that like when I have a really good like great news and like when I'm having a drink to celebrate something by myself or just at the house. Like that's what I'm pouring.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
What's the greatest news you got going on right now?
I have at least 10 closings on the books for this month, and that's the first time I've had 10 closings on the books
Congratulations.
since September of 2021.
That's amazing.
So that like I need to close them all out, right?
Yeah.
Need to close them all out, make sure no deals push, no deals anything, right?
Yeah. You got it.
And I think I have at least 2 more purchase agreements coming in the next day or two. So I should be at like 11 or 12. But yeah, dude, if I can when I hit the 10 this month, like, bro, we're drinking that scotch for sure, bro.
Just popping that bottle.
We're popping that
Beautiful.
bottle for sure.
Beautiful.
So, how about you, man? What's going on? What's the biggest celebration you got going on in your world right now?
I mean, big shout out to my little brother. He's getting married.
Hell yeah.
I'm super excited for him and his lady and welcome her into the family. It's going to be super exciting. That's August, and then we're celebrating this weekend for him. So
Yeah.
Very excited for that as well.
Absolutely, yeah. You have to send me. You're on Snapchat, right?
Oh yeah. I'll keep you informed.
Keep me informed on Snapchat of the tables you're running over there.
Exactly.
I got a buddy getting married in August too, and I'm gonna be in that wedding, so I had to move my concert dates. So I went to I was gonna go see Creed in
Okay.
Tinley. Huge Creed guy.
Respect.
I'm a huge dude. I'm like a huge like 90s and 2000s grunge band kind of guy. Like that's me, right?
Love it.
Nickelback, Creed, like everything.
Nickelback just took a bad, like, I mean, I saw a TikTok the other day, and it was like, whoever, like, scathed Nickelback, shame on you.
Exactly.
Like,
Shame.
Yeah, like, we all secretly love Nickelback, but...
Dude, I saw Nickelback with Jeremy and Paige last year.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they were selling T-shirts, and it said, Nickelback, fan or liar.
Exactly.
I was
That's
like,
what I'm
bro,
saying.
like that's all it is. Like you're either a diehard fan or you're just faking it, right? That you hate them. So regardless, Creed is coming in literally the day before my friend's wedding, right? In
Yeah.
Tinley. And I was like, hey, Creed's coming the day before. Like, we should all go see Creed before your wedding. They're like, hey, asshole, like this is the like rehearsal dinner is the day before the wedding. I've never stood up at a wedding before. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, cool. I guess I'll have to go see them in Indy the week before. So we drive out an extra 2 hours to go do that. But, it's going to be worth it for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I haven't had any big concerts coming up. Any crazy events.
I don't see you as a concert guy.
I was.
Yeah?
And, not that I'm not now. It's just
Sure.
I feel like COVID. Then I just stopped going. Like not that I wouldn't go.
Sure.
I just haven't seen any like really pique my interest lately.
I get that. Are you, what kind of music are you into?
Oh, I'm all over the board, man.
Sure.
Like I've slightly grown closer to country, as
Okay.
weird as that like was for me.
There you go.
Lately,
Yeah.
that's been a change. I find myself rocking the country in the middle, like on the way to work in the morning. It's good vibes. It's good vibes, and I feel like what you listen to and the music, the media, everything that you put into your ears and eyes, kind of like becomes your reality.
Oh, yeah.
It's odd. Been, like I said, different real estate seminars, all this, and it's all what do they call it? Can't remember off the top. But
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever you surround yourself with, whatever you put into your head, like you're
Exactly.
manifesting it, right?
Almost manifestation, but not manifestation, but programming.
Yeah,
That's
programming.
the word.
Yeah,
I was looking for.
programming. Yeah,
So it's like what you program yourself with, what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're listening to.
sure.
If you're listening to heavy metal, I
Right.
had a conversation with a good friend of mine just recently. He was going through a tough time, and I knew he was like into not that it's bad if you're listening to that, but
Sure.
I mean, if you're listening to that every day, and you're kind of producing your own reality, and he's turned the corner. He started listening to different stuff, watching different things, and
Sure.
even like told me like 2 weeks into him like making these small little changes in his life, he's seen like massive improvements, and I'm like, see,
There you go. Yeah. No, exactly. I mean, I've always been a pop punk kind of guy and like a grunge
Yeah.
kind of guy, right? And yeah, I mean, I could see that for sure.
I've been through it all. I've been all over the board. Like I said, I'm not like
Oh, yeah.
sworn to like one genre of music.
Sure. Yeah.
But,
No, I get
I
you.
love it all.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So, yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, if you're into country, have you heard of Hometown Jams?
No.
Okay, so they're a
Like
local
I said,
thing.
just getting started.
That's okay. That's okay. So Hometown Jams, they put on events here. They got they rent out Bulldog Park. They do the square or like the park, whatever it is in Valpo.
Yep.
There's a old high school football stadium in Hobart that they use by the police station over there too, right?
Okay.
So they have these 3 different venues, and they'll bring in different like country artists. There's no one like big. It's not Luke Bryan or anything like that, but it's like people who are mid tier to like high mid tier country artists. They had Brantley Gilbert there last year. They've had like uh, Cooper Allen was here last year and stuff like that. So they'll do like maybe what like 2 to 3 shows a month in the summertime. And my buddy and I we'd go to almost every concert they would have because they always do them on Friday nights. I get out there around 5. It's a great way to cap off the week. When they do them over here, I'll just walk over there from the office, at Bulldog Park, and I'll just pay the $35 to get in and get a beer and then just watch the concert. It's a great time. So definitely check it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What about cooking these steaks, brother?
Oh, all right. Well, you already know how I cook my steaks, so I got to hear how you cook your steaks.
I mean, different ways, but I've been accustomed to the reverse sear lately, where you cook it on low. You could either use it if you're using a smoker, even better. Salt only.
What kind of smoker you got, real quick?
I had a char broil Texas Trio.
There you go.
We're not selling them, all right?
a smoker.
So that's or you play with the fire on the outside of the grill, right?
Yeah.
Very hands on. Recently got a RecTech, way easier.
Yeah.
So if you're into the controller from your phone,
Sure.
I would say Traeger, RecTech, somewhere along those lines. That's the way to go.
Is RecTech like the like Traeger's like the Peloton? RecTech is like the what's the Peloton's competitor?
I'm not sure.
Oh God, come on! It's the you know what I'm talking about. It's sold at Costco.
You gotta pull it up, man.
Oh God, hang on. Let's see.
Well, you're looking it up though. So like,
Yeah.
the comparison would be the offset. Again, you're playing with the fire every 10, 15 minutes. You know, it's very hard to control the temperature. It's a lot of getting used to. Like it's again with the experience, right? You over and over and over, messing up, doing it right, finding the right way to get it to the right temperature, how much wood to put in, how to put it in. I mean, I watched hours of videos on that, and then you got the RecTech or the Traeger. You set it on your phone, and it's like consistent temperature,
Right.
consistent smoke.
Norditrack. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So it's the Norditrack of smokers.
Yes, of course.
Okay,
Of course.
perfect.
So the nice way to do it would be, I like 225, 250 on any kind of smoker. Or you could even cook it on a charcoal grill for that matter.
Sure.
Get the steak up to 110 degrees, 115 degrees, depending on what cut of meat that you're cooking. Get a cast iron skillet, chunk of butter, sprig of rosemary, sprig of thyme, and you melt that. And now you're going to sear the steak and bring it up to that 135. And if you don't cook it at medium rare, you shouldn't be eating steak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We can agree on that.
If we can agree on that, then we're good.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry for all you well done people out there.
Yeah.
It's not the way.
Well done is for good and faithful servants, not steak.
I will tell you, it is safe to eat.
Exactly.
It is safe. Ground beef, not safe.
Right.
Like that, because you're grinding up all the bacteria. That's the whole caveat of eating a medium rare steak. If you sear the outside, it's safe, people.
Exactly. Dude, what are the most creative liberties you've taken in home cooking?
I tried to make sushi one time.
Ooh, how'd that turn out?
It was a mess.
Oh,
Yeah,
did you have
but
you have a
turned out
sushi
good.
roller?
Yeah, we got the sushi roller, a rice cooker, the whole 9 yards. It is like sticky glue.
Oh yeah.
In the kitchen.
Oh, I bet.
I've done it once.
I had a sushi roller, and I can't find it now. Like half the stuff ever since I moved, like I can't find half the stuff that I had at the old place. I'm convinced that somebody in my past stole it, but
It wasn't me, brother.
no, it's not. No, exactly. But no, I think the most recently creative liberty I ever took in the kitchen. I really wanted spaghetti and meatballs. Like I just have different cravings, and I'm like MacGyver in the kitchen. I'll like give me like whatever, and I'll just throw that shit together. Right? Coffee grounds on steak. Bro. Come on now. So preach now. So I had like these burger buns, right? Because I had burgers the other day. I'm like, okay, I got burger buns. I don't have any panko. I was trying to make meatballs, and I have ground beef in my freezer. So I threw the ground beef in the fridge to let it thaw out. That thawed out overnight. Grabbed it. I threw it in the bowl. I threw different spices and things in there. So okay, well I still need panko to like actually make meatballs. I was like, well, I'm not gonna drive to the grocery store and buy panko breadcrumbs. Like, let me just char these burger buns, like one burger bun split in half. We just toast it in the air fryer real quick, and then I'll just crunch up the breadcrumbs into the meat, and I'll just make it that way. And I did, and it wasn't that bad.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, it wasn't that bad.
You jogged a story for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't a creative cooking per se, but
Sure.
creative baking.
Oh yeah, we'll take that.
I'm a Pillsbury instant cooking kind of guy.
There you go.
Throw them in the pan, put them in the oven, 350, 375, whatever it calls for, done.
Yep.
Well, we didn't have any, and I wanted cookies. So I decided that I was gonna homemade some cookies, and I whipped the dough together, making just plain sugar cookies, and I'm like, I got this.
Yeah.
It calls for parts. I made probably 50 to 75 cookies, like
Yeah.
a ridiculous amount for this. I don't really need it, just like 2 pans worth of cookies.
You're like, I was buzzed on a Friday night. I just made 200 cookies.
Worlds, so I couldn't eat them, right? Like at the world competition coming up, I'm on a weight cut, and I could have like 2 of these 75 cookies that
Right.
I made. But I put them on parchment paper, and this was before I sold my place. And as I'm pulling out one of the pans, all of the parchment paper, along with all of the cookies, slide off the back end of the pan like dominoes. It was like
Bro.
right onto the heating element, and I have a full blown fire in my oven. And I freaked out, put water in the oven, which after further review, you could close your oven and cut off the oxygen, science, and then the fire will go out. No,
right.
So it's like, I'll break the oven, water into the oven.
Holy cow.
Burn a whole tray of cookies, and I haven't made home cookies since. That one scarred me a little bit. I actually literally have a scar from burning myself trying to put the fire out.
Damn, son.
So I'll stick to cooking and not baking.
Yeah, no, baking
Two
is
ball games. Let me tell you.
2 completely different ball games. I've baked cookies one time, and that was for a friend's Christmas party, and they actually turned out good. They didn't turn out that bad. But then, like, my girl was baking cookies, for Easter, and with cookies, you have to time it perfectly because half the batch was perfectly fine, chewy, like moist, all that stuff. Even though it's a cringe word now, but it was chewy, perfect, right? Perfect cookies. The other half of the batch, you're biting, it was just crunching. I'm like, man, like I know you did these for the same time, but how are half of these gooey and half of these are crunchy? Like it's ridiculous. And it was all like when they were resting too. Like they still cook when they're resting, just like a steak would.
Yeah.
But what else? What's the most creative thing you've ever cooked in your life?
The most creative thing I've ever made. I don't know. I've cooked everything under the sun.
Sure.
For that matter.
It was pretty interesting when you put those Bud Light cans inside those chickens.
Oh, okay. Like that's a beer butt chicken, man. I don't think that's the most.
It's not necessarily creative, but
whoever came up with that
was a genius.
Was creative.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know who was the one that stuck a beer can up a chicken's behind.
Yeah.
And put it on the grill. But it turns out pretty good.
It does turn out pretty good.
I got a big shout out to Holy Voodoo. We're not selling anything on the show here, but
yeah, exactly.
The Holy Voodoo Welch's Stop and Shop Meat Church. That seasoning, I put on everything.
Oh yeah.
It could be steak, chicken, salmon. I mean, it's almost like the threesome sauce of seasoning.
Oh yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Eggs in the morning. We just made hard-boiled eggs and breakfast sausage for Easter morning breakfast.
Sure.
Before we do the ham and the whole ordeal. And,
right.
Yeah, you bet I broke out that Holy Voodoo. And,
oh yeah.
Sprinkled on the eggs, hit it with some Valentina hot sauce, and I was woof.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Spiced up them hard-boiled eggs.
Oh yeah.
What about Easter? Did you have anything tasty for Easter?
Yeah, so my dad is a huge brisket guy now. He got a smoker. So every holiday, dude, I don't even know, bro. I don't even know. I'm not even cool like that.
Traeger. I was like, oh, he's got the Peloton.
Exactly. He may have a Traeger. I have no idea. He's got the pellets. He does the whole meat church thing. He's got the whole thing ready, right? Yeah. So every major holiday, he's hosting. He's doing a brisket, whatever, right? Good on him. I love it. It's great. And then I'll do, my family love him to death, right? So they do brisket now, which he's getting really good at briskets. It used to be kind of dry. Now it's actually really good. So shout out, Dennis, if you're listening to this. Your brisket's good now, right? So the first couple times were a little rough, but it's good now. But anyways, so my mom will have a salad. She'll have some Brussels sprouts, which are good. I love Brussels sprouts. And half my family's celiac, the other half like, can't have dairy. Apparently, I'm the only normal person in my family, right? So there's all like dairy-free options and gluten-free options everywhere else, right? So I'm sitting there like, hey, like, where's the good stuff, right? I'm like, I'm trying to get some deviled eggs, my boy.
Like gluten and lactose.
Exactly.
Right.
give me a shot of gluten and a shot of lactose right now, right? So so I go to my girl's parents' house. Afterwards they got the deviled eggs, they got pierogies, they got. I'm like, dude, this is eating right here, bro. This is what we're talking about, right? No shame in the game if you're lactose or gluten intolerant, but I'm saying for those who are able to partake in the devil's ingredients, pierogies and deviled eggs are the way to go, my boy.
I had 6 pierogies on Easter.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Dude, I had the jalapeno and potato and bacon and cheese.
See, you guys are doing it up. I just had the sweet cheese.
Oh, here you go.
I'm a little picky, but we didn't have that kind of luxury with the jalapenos, the bacon bits.
Oh yeah. Well, that's because my girl, her parents, they have one kid at home. They had 3 kids total, one still at home. So they're on that like, hey, we got money again, budget, and they're like, hey, let's go ahead and slam these pierogies.
Yeah. These are stacked pierogies.
Exactly. Let's sling these pierogies. Good deal, bro. Well, what else do you want to talk about here? Or you want to wrap it up? We're about an hour in at this point.
Hour in? I mean, we could go for another hour if you feel it.
We could, or I could go home and grill a steak.
You got to work on your steak grilling. You got to baste. You got to baste with that butter.
You got to baste
I'm gonna
for
have to
sure.
Come over and show you how it's done, my friend.
That works. I need to get a cast iron. That's what I need.
Yeah, and you know what? I'll try the coffee bean.
Don't knock it till you try it, bro.
I'm not knocking it. I was knocking it.
You were, but that's okay. It's okay.
I haven't tried it, so I will try it, and maybe in the next, the next time I'm out here doing an episode with you,
yeah,
review the coffee bean and compare it to the butter-based thyme, rosemary, and garlic special.
Well, let me know.
And we'll see what's up.
we'll roll from there for sure. So, all right. Well, I appreciate everyone that's listening to this. If you got this far, I'm sorry, and I appreciate you too. But yeah, good deal. Well, Dom, if people are still looking at you out here, where can they find you? How can they connect with you?
You can find me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Dom Guarino, Homes by Dom, through Macallan's website as well. If you know me, get a hold of me.
There we go. Love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
All right. I'll see you guys.